A woman mocked the Japanese flag, saying it looked like a used sanitary pad. The Japanese officer immediately dragged her out, forced her to kneel on the ground, bound her hands behind her back, and surrounded her with sharp stakes. The officer demanded that she apologize, but she firmly refused. Under the scorching heat of more than 40 degrees Celsius, the woman knelt all afternoon, yet still refused to bow to the Japanese. Enraged and humiliated, the officer drew his samurai sword, pressed it against her neck, and struck with full force. The prisoners around were horrified, and from then on they obeyed the Japanese without question. Not long after, a group of young and beautiful female captives were taken to the residence of senior officers. The Japanese set a table full of food, and had the interpreter tell the women, as long as they walked into the adjoining room, they could eat their fill, and even sleep on clean sheets. The women whispered among themselves. In the end, a few could not resist the temptation and chose to walk inside. The others were sent back to the camp to continue exhausting labor, but only a short time before, they had been Europe's elite society ladies. When they followed their husbands on a holiday trip to Britain's colony of Singapore, Japan launched its invasion of Southeast Asia. They fled by ship, only to be intercepted by Japanese warplanes. The aircraft bombed them mercilessly, finally sinking the ship, and capturing all the women, sending them to a prison camp. There, they were forced into hard labor, given only rotten vegetables to eat. Those who resisted were beaten without mercy. In such brutal conditions, many soon contracted malaria, and people died every day. One Chinese female prisoner, moved by compassion, secretly crawled out through the barbed wire at night. With hand signals, she traded for a box of quinine, but on her way back, she was discovered by the Japanese. The next day, they dragged her out, forced her to kneel on the ground, poured gasoline over her body, and the officer lit a match, burning her alive in front of everyone. Prolonged oppression and slavery slowly drained the captives of hope, leaving them numb. At that moment, a woman named Sophie proposed forming a choir. She hoped music could give everyone the strength to keep living. At first, the others thought she was insane, but Sophie persisted, constantly inviting others to join whenever she could. Thanks to her perseverance, more and more women became part of the choir. One evening, they performed. Japanese soldiers rushed over to stop them, but were instead captivated by the women's beautiful singing. War had turned them into beasts, yet once, they too had been human. When the song ended, the soldiers returned to their brutality. One day, while Sophie was working, a Japanese officer called her into the woods. He ordered her to sit down, and in front of her began to sing. His voice, shrill like a butchered pig, left Sophie baffled. Fortunately, he only sang, he did nothing else. Day after day, the women clung to the power of music and endured until Japan's surrender. To escape trial, the Japanese loaded all the female captives onto trucks and drove them to a deserted village. They told the women, "The war is over, you are free." The women could hardly believe it. Only after all the Japanese left did they finally embrace one another and celebrate. War is terrifying, but losing the will to live is even worse. Through music, these women gave the prisoners trapped in despair the strongest spiritual strength.